Yo, what up, everybody? I go by the name, Welcome to my YouTube channel. I've been trading for like 3 years now. It's been like a roller coaster, I'm profitable, but not where I want to be financially, but I'm really like profitable. I managed to pay my rent, take care of myself, do whatever that I really want to do based on the money that I make from the market. So on this channel, I'm just going to be documenting my journey in the trading space, some accounts that I'm going to be trading, I'm going to be documenting them, but most importantly, I'm just going to be documenting my channel, and breaking down the market, whatever that comes from me, don't take it as financial advice, that's a disclaimer, but I'm going to be making sure that I break down whatever that I have to break down, or I explain whatever knowledge that I've accumulated in the past 3-4 years that I've been trading. Yeah, let's get down to the market breakdown. Boom. Yeah, so let's get started, guys. I'm on the monthly time frame. This is DXY, the dollar index, simply means this is like the blueprint, of what's going to be happening in the market, or what's been happening in the market, because this is the major currency, by the way. Yeah, it's the reserve currency, that's what I meant to say. So this is where I start. This is the monthly time frame. As you can see, I just take this to over here, the path to higher high, higher low, failed to break the high, came back, retested, broke a high, came back, retested, failed to break another high. I would consider this as a sweep of those lower lows that it was creating in that time. Currently, it has to come and retest around these premises and then come back to the downside. Why am I saying that? There's an imbalance that has formulated on this area. So as I'm approaching that way, I can really mark this area as my point of interest, This is from the monthly time frame, So over here is going to be an area of liquidity. Regardless of what's going to be happening in the market still needs to hit around this area. So that simply means this coming week I'm going to be looking for buys in the dollar. Yeah, so let me just remove this and scale down to the weekly time frame. Yeah, so as I scale into the weekly time frame, I'm still seeing the same thing, this impassive move to the downside. We've got a high that's been created. We failed to sweep the lows, and we got a high that's created. So currently we're sort of in a range bound, but I strongly believe that in the beginning of the next week it's gonna sweep out those highs, retest, and then push to the upside. So that's what you're gonna be looking for. But let me just keep on scaling down because I'm really on a huge bigger time frame. Let me just say that I'm really on a big time frame. So you can just adjust this to this area, still like that. Yeah, so and this highlighting to I marked it from the monthly time frame, hence why it's so big. But currently we can really see we're still sticking to our analysis where it has to go to the upside. We can scale to the H4. So what am I seeing on an H4? On an H4 I'm sort of seeing a range bound, but overall it's an uptrend, from this low up until this high, right? We're still in an uptrend. I can just remove a trend now. Yeah, so currently we're still ranging, we are caught up in this area here. Let me just see. We're caught up in this area, it's a range bound, it's a range bound. It created a breakout, came back in, still ranging. So in the coming week, you still really need to look for this type of movement. But let's go to the lower time frame, like to an H4 time frame, and see how you can approach this. Guys, I really trade like supply and demand mixed up with a little bit of an SMC, but overall, if I had to define my strategy, I don't have a particular way of really like describing my strategy, but I know a little bit of everything. I started from price action, and then there's some things that are really like helping me, and some things were really not really working out from the price action perspective. So I had to merge everything. Like I've been like trading in all forms of strategies, from SMC, supply and demand, and price action. So now I just use a little bit of everything, you know. Like currently I'm seeing there's an imbalance here. That's for an SMC, right? There's an imbalance here. So currently before we go up, we're gonna need for market to come and retest here and then push to the upside, right? Yeah. So let me just scale down. Yeah. You know, so on an SMC perspective, you can just view it in this sense whereby we broke out of this area. So this can be known as a change of character. Reason being, there was a drop from this swing high to the swing low, right? And then it came back, you know, it has created this impulsive buy, right? And then the market came back. It has to come here, fill the imbalance, and then push to the top side. So that's what you want to be looking for. Your entries, you want to be looking for them around these premises here, around these areas. Yeah, so this is what I'm seeing on DXY. A little bit of a sell, you know. After the sell, that's when you're gonna catch your long-term buys up until that area to the top side, you know. Yeah, so once you get a like a pure perspective on what's happening on DXY, that's when it makes a little bit sense when you're analyzing your other pairs, you know, whether it's exotic, whether major pairs, but whatever pair that the dollar, you know, but honestly speaking, the dollar affects majority of the pair. So whatever pair that you're analyzing, as long as you have touched the DXY and you have a clear direction of how the DXY is going to be moving, you can really know how to approach it. But on this area here, I'm seeing scalpers can really milk it from here to here, right? They can catch sell, but I'm not really the scalping type because I've got other things that I do on the side. So scalping really gets a little bit hectic. Honestly speaking, this candlestick is the one that's supposed to be your order block. Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. It's gonna be a sell first and then a buy later, you know. Yeah, but when I have time, I'm gonna be doing the market recaps because, as I said, I don't just trade, you know. I do other things also. So yeah, you know, I'm gonna later let you know what are those other things as we go. Yeah, but you see this is a strong supply zone over here. So a sell after the market opens, to those who like to trade in the market open, a sell from here. That simply means you can sell USD CAD, you can buy gold, you know, and you can also buy indices, right? There's a sell from this area. So yeah, from a scalper perspective, I would advise you can catch that sell, you know, from this area up until to the downside, right? What must I check out next? I can check Euro USD, though I don't really like trading USD. It hasn't been moving the way I would like it to be moving, you know. Let me not use those words the way I would like it to be moving, but it hasn't been suiting my trading style the way it's been moving. It's been a little bit too choppy. Yeah, but let's approach it. Don't get surprised with my candlestick, guys. I've removed the wicks just to make it a little bit clear, but it's advisable to put the wicks back because they kind of show you. They leave the blueprint of the manipulation that's been happening and the spikes that's been happening in the market. May I just like to approach it this way because I know that it looks a little bit cleaner and it makes it easy for me to analyze. So this is Euro USD. We're on the weekly time frame. So I'm putting this trend line that you see, like it has a potential of coming to retest in this trend line. This first touch, second touch, we might expect a third touch right around these areas, right? You know, yeah, that's the weekly time frame, by the way. So looking at it, you know, it has been dropping from this area. It has been dropping from this area. It came back and then consolidated, came back to the downside and then sweep those consolidation areas. So I strongly believe that it might sell, come retest this area and push to the upside. But let me not jump into conclusion. Let's break it down to the lower time frame and see how can I approach it, right? And then boom, you know, this is get on a daily time frame. Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of imbalance, guys. This area here, it's an imbalance for me. you know. And this area here, it's an imbalance for me, you know. But besides everything, approaching it in an SMC manner, you can consider this as your change of character, you know, to the upside, right? If you consider that as your change your character to the upside, you can create this as your major order block, you know, because that's where all the friction started, right? You know, so if that's an that's a bigger order block, it simply means the market is gonna be drawn to those areas, right? Yeah, the market is gonna be drawn to those areas. So now let's break down this area over here and see what's really happening. So that simply means you must be expecting the market to be coming to this area, right? It's gonna be selling. Since we've already seen that buy on DXY, now it makes all sense, right? That EURUSD is gonna be dropping for the next week. Yeah, and then let me see what's really happening over here. So we caught up in a little bit of a range bound over here, you know. So I can say it's ranging between these two areas. There's this area, and then there's also this area over here. Those are the areas that we're ranging in between, right? You know, yeah, we're ranging between those areas. So for somebody that is looking for sales, you can just wait for the market to sweep this, you see, to break out of this range bound, you know. Two ways can really occur. It can manipulate by doing this, coming to break out, retest, and drop to the downside, or it might just break out, give you something sort of with this candlestick, come retest, and then that's when you cut your entries to the what? To the downside. So that's what I'm seeing on EURUSD, guys. I'm seeing sells, you know, and I'm looking at it from a swing up perspective. I like looking at things from a swing up perspective because, in a sense, I feel like it doesn't matter whether you're a scalper, you still need to look at the market from a swinger's perspective because that's where it gives you like the whole, you know, blueprint of what's going to be going on even on lower time frames, right? You know, so over here, if you're a scalper in this range bound, you know, I would like to believe that's just going to drop, but that would be a little bit of a lie. There's an imbalance in between this range bound, right? An imbalance that's occurring at this area over here. You see, this is a strong supply zone over here, so it might sweep this area over here. Now I'm analyzing it from an intraday scalper perspective, right? Let me remove this. Yeah, so this one might be your liquidity zone, you know. This one might be your liquidity zone, might get swept like this, then it comes out like this, comes out like this, and then it drops like that, you know. Yeah, so this sweep and the buy might occur from the sell that I showed you in a DXY. Remember, so I showed you some potential sells in DXY that it might sell. So when DXY is selling to just fulfill that fair value gap for it to buy, this one might be buying to fulfill the fair value gap, which is over here, you know, for it to sell. So it's just the inverse of what's happening in the DXY, ladies and gentlemen. So what pair can I really check out next? Indices, gold. I might well analyze it, but I don't like analyzing things that I'm not trading because, in a sense, you know, I'm not really in track with what's been going on. I like to break down things that I'm really in touch with, that I'm really trading. You know, let's say EURUSD, GBP USD. I'm trading these things and I know how they're moving. So I can come yap on gold, but haven't been touching it with this war because it's a market that's fundamentally a buy. So in a sense, you know, this is USD JPY. USD JPY is caught up between this strong high over here. It's creating equal highs, two equal highs, and then this is our recent strongest low, the one that was created to sweep this internal structure over here. Let me just give them on a daily. This is USD JPY. Yeah, I bet, guys, USD JPY. And then how am I gonna approach this? Yeah, I'm really seeing nothing USD JPY. Yo, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. it wasn't even a vlog or whatever the case might be, just the market breakdown. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you pick up a thing or two, and that's how I approach the market. So tomorrow markets are opening, which is the Monday. Yeah. To those who don't know, I'm based in South Africa, by the way. So yep, tomorrow the markets are opening. Once they open, yeah, we're gonna see how the market goes. But that's what I'm seeing currently with this war. Just keep in touch with the news, because yes, anything could really happen. Anything could happen at any time. You know, the news, it keeps throwing surprises like left, right, center. You never know Donald Trump what is up to. But yeah, now, ladies and gents, that's that for the day. Have a great one. Yours sincerely, Trades. Thank you.